Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Wednesday, the 14th? 14th, yes, of December 2016. That's way too many numbers, apparently. This is episode 205, Tock. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. I don't even know if I said all the things that I normally say in my intro. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I just got back from a meeting at my kids' school for Mara, and my cat is wheezing in the background, so I'm highly distracted by that. But there are no children here today, so hopefully I will be able to stay a little more focused. But I've already been up for almost 5 hours, so it's getting toward the time of day where I kind of just zone out. Okay, so I am a morning person in that I have really good focus in the morning and I get so much done in the morning. And then the rest of the day, all I want to do is sit around quietly and knit or read. So my productive part of the day is done. And my brain is like, okay, now it's time to rest, but I can't rest because I'm talking to you. And I actually have a lot of things to do today. But I am recording a mini-sode too. So because I have so many things going on, you guys get to be a part of that. So look for that sometime after this one comes out, because I don't work today, tomorrow, or the next day. So I'm going to just make a Wanders episode during that time. So that'll be up Saturday, maybe. Except I work on Saturday, so probably not until sometime next week when I don't work. Who knows? Anyway, you're here for knitting, right? There is a knit along going on right now. It is for my patterns, and I am pretty excited because I am releasing concurrently with putting this episode up. So when you see this pattern will be available. I am releasing the Tock sock pattern. So this is the pattern, and I will put in a picture so you can actually see the sock. But this is it. The yarn, you know what, I'll tell you about the yarn and the specific yarn that I'm using in Works in Progress because I cast on the second one. But this is the sock, and it has garter stitch sections and stockinette sections. It knits up really, really fast, and it uses fingering weight yarn. A standard skein of yarn will get you a pair of socks. This pattern and the mitts pattern are both based off of time. So I'm excited for the mitts. I haven't heard feedback from my test knitters, I don't think. I may be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure I haven't heard anything back. They were just starting the mitts a couple days ago, but hopefully those will be up by the end of the year, and I will give you the full spiel on both of them at that time. I will be releasing the Tock sock pattern today, and you can purchase that, and then if you like both patterns, I'll make it so that you get a discount for purchasing both patterns, but it'll be retroactive. So if you purchase the Tock pattern and then you want the mitts pattern also, you'll get the discount even if you purchase them separately. Anyway, so yes, that is going on, and you could totally knit this pair of socks in 2 weeks if you are at all a monogamous knitter, or if you're not me, because obviously I am taking longer than 2 weeks to knit this. But not this particular sock. This sock was a very quick knit. Uses US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles. This one is a 60 stitch sock, but you could use your preferred stitch count for it. Yeah, it's just I think it's a really good travel project because it's easy to see what you're doing. The Bunnyfish pattern knit along is going on. You guys are doing fantastic. I am going to cast on a project, which I'll talk about in Works in Progress, and then I will have 3 entries, 3 projects going of my own. I do have some finished objects though, so let's talk about those first. Highly distracted as ever. And yes, those are the administrative things I had to check in my journal. I finished a pair of socks. These are the Bellatrix socks by Monkey Toes. The yarn that I used is Souls and More. I don't know the colorway off the top of my head, but it has these drop stitch sections, which are really cool because I've never used a pattern that uses drop stitches before. So this is my first one, but it's not a difficult technique, and I like the effect of it. I will say if you are knitting this sock pattern, the drop stitches make it a lot stretchier. What is this? Lengthwise. So I did probably a dozen less rounds than I would normally do on the sock because I tried on the sock and I was like, oh, I need to start the toe right now. Because once I get close to my normal number of rounds, I try it on and I'm like, yes, I do need to go to that normal number of rounds, or no, I need to, make the toe. But you can see, like, I got to this part of the repeat, and that's actually right before the toe decrease, when in the pattern it has you do extra, or not extra, but more rounds of plain knitting before the drop stitch knitting. It was a really simple, simple is not a right word. It was a really memorizable pattern. I told you back when I talked about it last time that, or the first time, I don't know, that I did the first repeat and then I didn't have to look at the pattern anymore. I didn't look at it for decreases or anything. It's a short sock. I did 1.5 repeats of the pattern on the leg. I did 10 rounds of 1x1 ribbing at the top, did a heel flap and heel turn. And when I do, it's the slip stitch heel flap, so it's a little reinforced, but I do the slip stitches on the purl side because my purling is not extremely slower than my knitting, but it is noticeably slower than my knitting, so I slip on the purl side because that's just faster. And then, yeah, so gusset decreases on the sides. I really want to try someday gusset decreases on the bottom. I think it looks really cool. I just haven't done it yet. No reason. I just haven't. And I know there are a lot of patterns for it, and I could totally follow the patterns, but I think that I'll probably just do it because I understand conceptually how it works and the math behind it. So I'll probably just do it instead of looking up a pattern. But I might find a pattern for it. Anyway, so these are one pair of socks finished for Christmas because I was telling you how many pairs I had to finish last week. So that's one. The other thing that I finished is kind of a finished object, but kind of a half object, but it kind of depends on how you think about things. So this is sock number 7 for Haley. 7 out of 8. And it will kind of be a pair with a sock that is a work in progress. So here's the sock. So they're kind of a pair. I picked the yarns because they were self-striping and they had orange in them, and that's what ties them together. And they both have blue, and this dark blue kind of matches this gray blue over here. So they kind of match that way. And then the toes are the same yarn, although they start in different places. And then the heels will both be this other blue yarn. So it's half of a pair, but it's kind of its own thing because it's not going to match at all. It's not going to match really, I guess, since it does sort of match a little. So this is that sock. The yarns in these two socks are yarns that Jen from Knit Chat with Jen sent me. So I paired them up because I was looking through the box and I was like, oh, those kind of look nice together, all 4 of those. And I didn't know how I was going to make the socks. I was like, well, maybe I'll make toes, heels, and cuffs match and then the bodies match. But I decided different bodies because that's fun, having mismatched socks. I mean, I don't personally have mismatched. Untrue. I have a pair of commercials. I have two pairs. Bleh. Ponce time in college, I exchanged gifts with some of my friends for Christmas, and my roommate bought me two pairs of knee-high socks in like my favorite Christmas colors. So they're lacy socks. I wore the green pair last week, and they're not green green. They're kind of like an olivey green, like olive and pine green meet and have a baby. That's what color they are. And then there was a red pair, but it was like a burgundy winey color. So those are the types of Christmas colors that I like. Like this stocking over here, it's okay, but it's not my type of Christmas colors because the red is just red. I like more like this stocking right here. I also appreciate the Grinch as a Christmas color, but I really more like the olivey, darker colors. So anyway, one of the red socks is missing, but I can't bring myself to get rid of the one red sock that I have. And it's been gone for a really long time, like probably Gabriel's whole life. I've only known where this one red sock is. So sometimes I wear the green socks together, but sometimes I wear a green and a red. But most of the time my socks are matching. So Haley doesn't care though, which is why she gets unmatching crazy type socks. I do kind of want to make a pair of crazy-ish Franken socks for myself, but they would all have to be like the same color family or something. I don't know. That might happen next year. So what else? Those are my finished objects, my work in progress, obviously this sock. And I started the second sock for the Tock sock sample, and here it is. I'm knitting it on my 9-inch circular because that's how I knit the first one, and my gauge is different for different types of knitting needles. I think that my gauge is the tightest on double points, and then this is in the middle, and then it's looser on magic loop. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is for me, and so I know it. So I don't want to make, so all of these socks were knit on 9-inch circulars so that the gauge would be the same on all of the pairs of socks, except the first pair of socks, which was different. But I knit those as a pair together, and they're not meant to be a part of a different set. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So the moral of the story is I don't knit second socks using a different method because then they won't fit the same. So this yarn is Science Monkey Mercantile, who is no longer dyeing, and I know I shouldn't use dyers who are no longer dyeing for designs, but this one needed to be this design. You can't argue with the yarn. What was I going to do? Pick a different yarn that didn't want to be this design? No, that's silly. This yarn is so beautiful. It's one of my precious yarns. I didn't want to use it. It's the last skein of Science Monkey Mercantile that I have because I've used all of the other ones. I think I had 4, maybe 5. I had a pink and black skein. I had a red and black skein. I had this blue skein. I feel like I had one more skein. I don't know. But this is the precious one. This was, I wanted to make something for me out of it because it's my colors. Green with blue and brown. Yeah, that's, I mean, this is pretty much me. So I'm making these socks out of it, and it's just the cuff right now. It's a very small start for the socks, but it works up quickly if I actually work on it. However, this is, since I'm able to publish the pattern without knitting it, and it's going to be, you know, a sample sock for a little while, I'm not really that worried about finishing it. So it's kind of just, I throw a couple rounds on every day, and then it doesn't get a lot of work. Also, I only cast it on a couple days ago, so that's why it's so tiny. But I have started it. I also, okay, so I'm going to talk about bags today while I'm doing this. This is a bag from Kitchen Counter Crafter, and I love it so much that I've messed up the top. So this is what it looks like. But it's snapped closed because I'm a little abusive to my bags. I carry them everywhere, and I'm hard on all of my things. I just am. Like, I don't even know what that is on the bottom. Probably coffee or chocolate or something. But I love this bag so much. So much. So that's what this is being held in. I am also working on a new cast on, which is, I don't know what this pattern is called, and someone else will know it. I should have looked it up before I started recording, but I will look it up for show notes. It is a pattern for self-striping where on the color change rows you slip stitches. So that's what I've done here. And not even when every color changes, because there are some really tiny gray, you can see it right there. There's just like a single round of gray. Actually, it shows better over here. These are 68 stitch socks. So you can see right here that gray doesn't even make, it doesn't make 2 rounds, it makes 1.5 on this sock. So I slipped for where it changed to gray, and then didn't slip where it changed to this springy green color. And then again, I slipped up here where it changed to gray, but that gray didn't even make it all the way back around in between the green. So I'm trying to switch at noticeable color changes, but if I forgot to slip, I wouldn't worry about it. I have tinked back up to like a full front, but if I made it all the way to the back, I wouldn't tink back for it. But you can see right here, it's got the pink and the gray alternating yarn for the slip stitches. So I don't know whose pattern this is, but I will link them because it's not an original idea. And I know that I have it somewhere in my queue, this pattern or this type of pattern. So I will link that. I was going to make the fruit stripe gum socks using this yarn, but then I realized that the pattern is only on the leg, and I didn't check project pages. So I don't know if that is because you can't do it on just the top of the foot, or if the designer just chose not to. I didn't look into it because these socks need to be finished by Friday. I started them on Sunday. Yeah. So I need to work on that. Or maybe, no, I started them on Saturday. I had the day off on Saturday. So I did the cuff on Saturday. So they need to be finished by Friday. I would like them to be finished tomorrow so that I can block them before wrapping them for the weekend. So we'll see. I'm pretty close. I'm about halfway down the foot. This gray in between the green and the purple marks the halfway point for the foot. So I'm about halfway for the foot, and it's kind of just a stockinette project that I only have to pay attention to every 7-ish rounds on average, because some stripes are thicker than others. The yarn, let me tell you about the yarn. This yarn is Patton's Croy Socks stripes in the Bramble Stripes colorway. So it's purples and greens and gorgeous. I like it a lot. I really like Patton's Croy for hard wearing socks, because some people I don't mind knitting fancy hand-dyed yarns for. The list is very short though of who those people are. For most people, I'd rather make them hardier socks, non-indie dyed socks, because I know that they're going in the washing machine and dryer for these people. But look at this bag. Okay, so it's new, and I have kind of a lot to talk about in new things, but I'm using this one right now. So this is a bag that Haley made for me for Christmas. Haley is nuts. She sent me so much stuff, but this is one of the things, and I love the floral print. This is my type of floral print, like dark, rich colors and kind of vintage-y feeling. And then the inside fabric is this lighter version of the same sort of thing, smaller motifs, but I love this bag so much, and I put it into immediate use so that I could just carry around this project. And this has been my travel project. Yesterday I had to go up to the school an hour before I would normally go up to the school, and a lot of it was sitting at the school. So I took this project because I was just sitting there and I could concentrate, but it was an easy project to bring around. Anyway, that's not really important, but I really, really, really like that bag. And honestly, it is kind of the motivation for me to be able to finish that project in the next couple days. So this is a project that is not started yet, but it will be today because it's the end of the second week of the Bunnyfish Crafts pattern along, and I haven't posted a picture of what I've been working on, which is that sock, this project, and then another project. So I'm going to start this so that I can post a picture so I can be entered to win prizes, because Allison earburned me and was like, hey, you participate. That's not what she said. She said I could participate if I wanted to, but I'm going to take it as like, hey, you need to participate in your own knit along, lady. It's a friendly thing. So this yarn is Lion Brand Scarfy, I think. My sister bought 3 skeins of it because Meyer had a buy 2 get 1 free or something like that sale on Lion Brand. I don't remember what it was, or buy 1 get 1 half price or something like that. I needed a skein of yarn, and she made up the rest of the sale with this yarn. But she has decided that she doesn't love working with this yarn. It's a single, so she just doesn't like it. It's not the type of yarn that she uses. I don't know the makeup. I'm pretty sure there's acrylic in it and maybe some wool, but maybe all acrylic. I have no idea. But it's a single, and singles, and I'm going to make myself a buffalo crossing. And Mary Lee has a huge scarf that she left at work, and she tied the ends together so it's a cowl, but I've been using it all week because she's been out of work, and so she hasn't been using it. And we share a locker, and we share pretty much everything anyway. So she tied it so it's a cowl, so it fits really well like across my neck here, like across my chest to tuck into my coat, and then also over my head, which is really, really nice because my winter coat doesn't have a hood. I don't know where I put my hat. I've been wearing a hoodie at work, so I have the hoodie up, but the scarf keeps extra insulation. And I also wear these earmuffs, which my sister got me for Christmas, but she is like impossible with Christmas gifts. She just wants to give them right away. She's like, take it. So I already know what my Christmas gifts are. But anyway, these are one of them, and they're earphones in the earmuffs. So I've been listening to that when I take the dogs out on like a one-on-one situation, and I don't need to be listening to 30 dogs and hearing the low growls to be like, okay, who's doing that? Because I need to break that up right now. I don't do it in a situation where I would put the dogs in danger. But it is nice to have them when I'm outside. Like I took a dog for a walk at work on Sunday. Oh my gosh, we had kind of like a small blizzard here. The school shut down on Monday. I was going to record on Monday because I didn't work on Monday either. But then there was a snow day, and I was like, I can't. So I took a dog for a walk in the snow on Sunday because I was working, and I had these so I could listen to my audiobook and not be too cold. It was brilliant. These are brilliant. They are an excellent present. She did really well. Anyway, that's not really important. I want to make a really long, fairly wide buffalo crossing for work, and I'm going to use this yarn because I have it on hand, and also I have this ball right here, but I also have a full skein of it that someone gave me for my birthday, so I definitely have enough yardage to make a really decent sized buffalo crossing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm casting this on today, but then I'm probably not going to work on it because I need to get some Christmas presents done. So speaking of Christmas presents, I put like 2 more rounds on my mom's someday to be thigh highs, but I'm still on toe increases, so nothing really there. I haven't worked on the rhombus socks by Cookie A, which is a problem, but I have started my second pair of my my design socks, mitts, which will hopefully be coming out by the end of the year. And here it is. So here's what the very beginning of the mitts look like. And I am using a skein of yarn that Haley sent me in my Christmas package. She sent me 2 of these 50-gram skeins of yarn. The mitts should take just about this much, about 50 grams. I had quite a substantial ball left when I made mine. So I think you could easily get a pair out of 50 grams, but I'm going to make them out of this so that I can say that with surety. They're knit on US size 2 needles. I'm using bamboo because that's what I had handy in a size 2. I do have some size 2 Chowgoos, but they're in a project. And I have some size 2 Susan Bates, but I don't like magic looping on them. So I'm using this, and this is color SY250 Rocky Gorge. And it's just really pretty colors. Like, they're not for me. My sister saw the yarn and she was like, those would make great mitts for her boyfriend, who I was going to make mitts for Christmas anyway. And I was like, well, I mean, I really love those colors and I don't really want to give them up because they're perfect for me. But I should be able to make these mitts, have a little bit left over in this skein, and be able to make a pair of shorty socks for myself. I might use contrasting toes and heels, but I might not. I should be able to get a pair of short socks for myself out of 50 grams of yarn. So that's this work in progress. And I'm keeping all of my Christmas knitting projects and this soon-to-be scarf for myself in another fabulous bag basket thing that Haley made for me. Oh my gosh, isn't it perfect? It's super geometric, green triangles. These are reading a little more blue than they are, but it's pretty close. It's still a bluey green. And then on the inside, it's this great polka dot fabric with greens and blues and browns on a brown background. And like a yellowy, tanny brown color, still brown. So that's what this little basket goes around everywhere with me right now. Usually inside my backpack, I just plop this whole basket on top of whatever else I'm carrying with me. But I love it so much and it's so great. So that was 3 new things, by the way, that I talked about in Works in Progress. 2 bags and a yarn. So what do I have to show you for modular knitting? Just the mitered squares that I didn't show you last week. I didn't work on the, I didn't make any hexapuffs. I didn't make a barn raising square, but I did put additional mitered squares on this week. So let me show you what I have total that's all new that you haven't seen. So this square was yarn from Steve of Dramatic Knits. This was yarn from Jen. This was yarn from Steve. This one is yarn from Steve. And then that was a little low. This and this, yarns from Steve. And then on the other side, this is, Diabolical yarn. It's what I use to make my original sample of the mitts. So I put those squares on. Yep, everything else is old. So it's getting so big and so pretty. I loves it so much. I'm not doing a ton of planning for it. I try not to put a lot of self-stripings next to each other. I try to put like I try not to put yarns of the same dye technique next to each other. I mean, sometimes I do for like variegateds, but I try to keep like self-striping separate, and obviously that didn't matter so much in these two, but I try to, so that it's not too many little L's in the blanket, which also happens with variegated sometimes, depending on the color length. But mostly it just needs to have blue or green in the yarn, and then I'm putting it in. And I also don't want a ton of solid squares all in one area, so I try to mix it up. But that brings me up to 72 squares total. This piece of the someday to be Afghan will have 100 mitered squares in it. So 71%, 72% finished with that. New things. They're pretty exciting. I'm not going to show you everything that Haley sent me today. I'm going to show you some of it, but before I get to the Haley, I ordered myself a present on Cyber Monday because I haven't really bought yarn. I mean, I've bought a few skeins of yarn specifically for Christmas knitting, but I haven't really bought myself yarn in a really long time. And e205, who they are one of my favorite dyers. I know I haven't used their stuff in a while, but that's because I haven't bought yarn in a while. So they're one of my favorites. I know Mariana, one of the dyers from Nerd Wars on Ravelry, and she's really, really nice. And I really just like their yarn. I've used them in shawls and socks, and maybe just shawls and socks, but I really like it. I have a skein of theirs that's a singles yarn that I've had for like 2 or 3 years that I just can't bring myself to knit because it's so beautiful and so perfect. I really need to knit that yarn. But anyway, they had gift things, sets, something, gift something for Christmas. I don't know what it's called in their shop. I'll put it down at the bottom, and I'll link their shop in show notes. You can still buy it, and it's called the 2016 e205 Holiday Gift. And it's really affordable for what it is. So there's 2 options. You can get one skein with a set of 4 minis, and that's $35. Or 2 skeins with a set of minis, which is $60. So good price for indie dyed. And they send it in a little gift bag. Mine is a little squished because, you know, the mail. But so they send it in this gift bag, which I could easily unsquish. I'm just choosing not to. And then they send it in a Ziploc, but they sent it wrapped. So how exciting is this? I already opened it because I couldn't wait. Unwrapping. So look at these gorgeous skeins. So this is the late night set of minis. And this is The City Hums. This is Dreaming is Free. This is Leather Smell, Leather Chair. And this one is Quiet, which is a colorway of theirs that I've been looking at. And I really want to get it. But just not buying a lot of yarn right now, which makes me sad because I really, really love this color by e205. This one's also really pretty though, The City Hums, but I love Quiet so much. So these are just colors in their late night collection. So your minis will probably vary. And then the skein of yarn you get is a dyer's choice, which means they just pick a skein that they have. And it's kind of a wah-wah moment because, okay, so the skein is not quite my colors, but it's fine. It's yellows and browns, but I don't hate it. And I have small humans who likes yellows and browns, but, and it's a one-of-a-kind skein, so I really wish that I liked it because I love their one-of-a-kind things, and it's called Honeycomb, so it's lovely, but it's their Chelsea sock base, and it has cashmere in it. I thought about leaving a note to the dyer saying, oh, I'm allergic to cashmere. Like I thought that when I was placing the order, and then I didn't leave that note because I was like, oh, I just want to get it. And it was late at night. It was right before the sale was ending, the coupon code for their Cyber Monday. And I didn't write it in. So I have this really lovely cashmere skein. So I will be giving this skein away. I don't know when or for what or whatever. It's a really, if you were a yellow person, this would be the perfect skein, right? Like it's so bright and sunshiny, and I actually enjoy the color because it's been kind of dreary here the past few days. So it's lovely for that, but it's a cashmere skein, and I don't even know if you can see, but I just bumped this part of my thumb against the skein accidentally, and it's already itching, and it's getting a little bit red. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I love supporting them, and I love the mini skeins. So there's that, and now I have a prize for something in the future. So yeah, that's just I talked myself out of leaving them a note because I was like, I mean, really, would they just give random cashmere skeins instead of one of their other bases of sock yarn? Because I love their other bases. I love the 100% superwash merino, and I love the merino nylon sock. I love their stuff. And I can tell by looking at the cashmere skein that if I wasn't allergic to cashmere, I would like it. It's got a really good twist. So excuse me. So the stitch definition would be really good, but it has cashmere. So that's kind of a bummer. It's okay though. I did get a ton of new lovely yarn this week also that I can touch. So there's that. I will now show you. Okay, so Haley sent me a ton of stuff. She sent me 3 boxes. One of them is basically stuff for the kids, but then 2 of them are for me. So this one that's over my shoulder right here next to Max and the Grinch, that is stuff that I'll be showing you in the future on the podcast. Today I'm just going to show you this box. And it is got some stuff in it from children, crayons and a pencil. That was not from Haley. It is the bulky acrylic stuff that she sent me. So this is Lion Brand Hometown USA, which you know I love. I've been buying it like crazy. So there's 2 skeins of this one, which is San Diego Navy, part of which has been knit into a scarf. Amanda saw this yarn, all of these yarns, and she was like, oh my gosh, you should make a blanket. So I think I might make myself a hat and then start a blanket for my sister because I love her. This is, except I'm totally using this skein. It's the Oakland Black. I'm totally using this to make fingerless mitts for Mary Lee because I was showing off the fingerless mitts last week, and she was like, I really like those fingerless mitts and I would really like some for work. And I was like, okay, after Christmas. And she was like, yeah, for sure. So that's going to be for Mary Lee. There is this, which is Los Angeles Tan. I think I have another skein of this that I bought for teacher's mitts and then didn't use. It looks like the right color. So I might have 2 skeins of that. There is this, which is Chicago Charcoal, which I'm thinking is going to be my hat because it'll be good for work. But I might use this one, which is Montpelier Peacock. It's kind of a bluey green. I'm not sure between those two, but also that's not going to happen until after Christmas. And then there is this tweedy one, which is Key Largo Tweed. So pretty. So these might be a blanket. I might use them to make a whole bunch of accessories. It's hard to tell, but I really, really am enjoying this Hometown USA yarn, and this has been in her stash for a while since these are older labels. Like this one's a newer label, but this is older label. So, and she's getting ready to move in the near-ish future, so she's trying to get rid of some things. So I'm glad that I could take these off of her hands because I will use them. And she also sent me 2 of these sweet rolls. So this is Premier Yarns, and it's like the Karen yarn cakes or whatever that everybody was getting on Instagram for a while, and I was lusting after, but also not buying yarn, so didn't buy any. And they're 100% acrylic. And this one is color Mint Swirl, so it's greens and gorgeous. And this one is Blackberry Swirl. So they're kind of perfect for me and my sister. I don't know what I'm making, but I kind of want to be super matchy-matchy and make something for both of us out of it. It's 245 yards of a worsted weight. So I don't know what they're going to be. I'm going to talk to my sister and see what she thinks we should be matchy-matchy with. I'm really excited to work with them though, just because they're a new type of product, and I don't know. I like the colors. I'm excited to work with them, and you guys, there's going to be so much to show you. I think I'm going to show you over about a month because she sent me so much great stuff. She is amazing. What else? I have reading for you. So I'm listening to Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon. I am on chapter 57 out of, I want to say 72, but that might be a lie. But I'm on chapter 57. So however many chapters are in this, I'm getting close-ish to the end. I don't think that I've really read any hard copy books this week. No, that's not true. I've been reading Fruits Basket Volume 2. I may have picked up Enna Burning and read half of a chapter. I am listening to the Iliad, but I'm going to finish that today, and then I can start on a different audiobook in my vehicle. Yay! So that is coming quickly to a close. Yeah, that's all I got for reading. It's kind of boring this week on the reading front, but I am going to the library today, so there's that. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you've made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!